How about now? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Totally had the mic muted. So if you're wondering why you couldn't hear anything I just said, that's because my mic was muted. Yep, new to streaming, so you have to bear with me as I learn. Didn't notice that I had that muted from yesterday's. So back to what I was saying. We've got minor buy side here. ES is already taking it out. It's taking out London's highs. We are below the midnight open. I'm mostly expecting chop today. This is the day before NFP. Probably no real opportunities. Sometimes there can be on chop day. You just have to be really patient and let the market form its range. And then try to play the extremes of that range. If that's what we do today, this is not any kind of gospel. It's just my take on experience and what I've dealt with many NFP weeks. Tomorrow being NFP's release. Most of the time we get a lot of chop action the day before, so just do some tape reading, and if anything presents itself, we'll take it, and if it doesn't, we'll just continue to tape read. As you can see, the opening was really weak. We just dropped down to GB level. That's the GoldBach level. If you're wondering about GoldBach, I'd refer to Hoppy on Twitter. He has come up with a fantastic unlocking of a mystery of one of ICT's deep secrets, which whether or not ICT uses it or not, that's up for your own debate that I'm not getting into. ICT has taught me a ton and has been phenomenal at giving away content and teaching how the market works and how to read price action. You know, before I learned his methods, I was really mostly completely blinded. Didn't have any framework as to how the market works and what to be looking for. You know, mixing the two together has really kind of unlocked a whole new level for me. So I give Hoppy credit for kind of putting that final piece of the puzzle in there for me. So definitely check him out on Twitter. He's got a book. It's an ebook for sale. It's not very expensive, and it's fantastic investment. Anyhow, let's just wait and see what we got going on today. Hope everybody's well. Trading safe. It's kind of cold out here. We had a bit of a winter weather advisory this morning. Cold and rainy. So, just is what it is. Coming off the heels of a 70-degree day, which was wonderful. Switch over to the 30-second here and take a look. Watching ES, they're not really in sync with each other. It's usually a good sign to, you know, keep your risk really tight. And I don't mean your stop loss is tight. I mean downsize big time. Don't take anything large. So we opened up 930. We're still in the 930 range. We've gone absolutely nowhere so far. What I'd like to see us do is run up here for this minor buy side. We've got some smooth edges up there that don't like to be smooth. That's what I'd like to see us do. Doesn't mean we'll do that. If we could take that out, potentially take out the high of the current dealing range, I'd potentially be interested in a short back to equilibrium. But with this kind of movement, there's really nothing worth taking yet. See what the 10 o'clock hour brings. I think there's some minor... No, the news was at 8:30, and that brought absolutely nothing. Whoops. Sorry about that. Logged out of my Top Step X account for a second there. Had it on my phone. And I'll let you log in on two separate accounts. So you happen to be logged in somewhere else, it'll automatically log you out. And I was trying to pull up the Forex Factory on my phone. Let's see what happens. We do have some lows here we could take out as a potential liquidity pool. Keep an eye on. These were, you know, minor lows at 7 a.m. So, but really, I mean, we're getting exactly what I thought we would get today, which is so far just chop. Just chop. ES is a bit cleaner, which lately the ES feels like it's just been much cleaner, you know. So you got relative equal lows here on 5 minute. ES is creating a range here while the NQ's just chopping. if you're whether you're new to trading or a veteran of the markets, you know, I don't claim to be really either. Somewhere in between. I've been involved with trading to some caliber and degree for feels like a long time now, close to a decade. I didn't always trade futures, and I didn't always trade ICT's concepts or GoldBach. Those are newer to me, so I'm still a student that's learning like everybody else. But I do bring some years of knowledge, some experience. I've been on these charts pretty regularly for the last couple of years, pretty much every day. Just specifically on the futures market. I got involved with stocks and crypto, options, and the whole gambit, you name it. I've done it. I've lost money doing it. Futures is, I don't know, it's the most reliable daily asset to trade. You know, it's not even really an asset, it's speculative contracts. But to me, you know, with stocks, you're having to constantly scan and look for what's moving, and there's so much with the global shifts. Markets shift into different sectors, and you got to stay up on a lot of different things if you're going to trade stock, which I understand why people like that. But it's just a lot to keep up with, you know. Futures, you just stick to a couple of charts. I use the ES and the NASDAQ. Use those for confluence, and sometimes I'll trade both. I used to only trade the ES. Since switched to micros on the NASDAQ, because just get so many more points in a move. Which can be a double-edged sword. I mean, if you're newer, I kind of recommend sticking with the ES. It moves slower. But you gotta pay attention to both markets. One's hit high time frame objective, and the other is not. You know, it's usually a good indicator to get out of the asset that you're in if the other one's already hit the target. So stuff like that are little tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. If you're familiar with ICT's concepts and the concept of SMT, where one market makes a high that the other market does not, can usually be a early indicator that markets are changing direction. And that's been, I mean, very, very helpful in picking a direction and daily bias for me. Get that indicator. I mean, anything you can use for confluence. I don't recommend you use too many bits of information, because then you get something called analysis paralysis, where you just really can't decide what to do. You end up with too many trade ideas, and they can be conflicting trade ideas because you got too much going on. So try to simplify things down to something that makes sense. And I feel like as a trader, you're going to go through a period of information overload, and you're going to learn and learn and learn, and you're going to get to a point where you know a lot but don't know how to apply it. And that just takes time. You know, my recommendation is really just stick with it. Just keep going. At some point, something's going to click for you. You're going to find a groove that works for you. And then, you know, you'll go into the phase of know what you're doing, but you've got to deal with the psychology piece. And that part will, I mean, that's an ongoing battle. It never goes away. But you get better at it. You learn to utilize tools to help keep you in line so that you don't get tilted and blow an account in a single day, like I've done multiple times. So, yep. So far we've really done nothing. We're still at Midnight open on the ES. Still below midnight on the NASDAQ, but haven't gone anywhere really since 9:30. This is just not pretty price action. Market doesn't really want to pick a direction. Occasionally you'll get these spikes in a direction. It's where they entice traders into FOMOing into a move, and then it'll just snap right back, or sometimes it'll go in a direction, but being able to predict that in the chop is difficult. So now the NASDAQ is starting to move a little bit, maybe running for this buy side, but the ES again is not doing anything. So let's see what happens. I will be patient and wait. Another really key thing that ICT taught that I find to be absolutely one of the best teachings you could ever have is that pay attention from 9:30 to 10-ish. Whatever direction we're heading, a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, the real direction for the day will be the opposite. He calls it a Judas swing. And it's to get all the traders on side on the wrong side and then switch directions. Now, they don't do that just to take people's money. There's no hidden conspiracy there. But they do need orders to pair, to move the market in their direction. So when they create these moves, when these moves are created algorithmically, it's to draw in orders in the opposite direction. That's my belief. I've seen it happen so many times now that it's not randomly buying and selling pressure that draws the market in the same directions every day and then changes them. They don't magically respect these, I call them invisible lines that I put on my charts. They don't know that I put these lines on my chart. The fact that they a lot of times will follow them. GoldBach is a thing. I mean, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Do your due diligence. I mean, go out there, discover for yourselves, look at your charts, do your research. I had to go through the trenches and dig through and find what showed up in my charts to be true to me. So we got a little movement to the upside. Not a lot. We still haven't taken out the smooth highs, the minor buy side that I've marked there, but it looks like we probably will. Like to see NASDAQ take out this and then see what we're doing from there. I like to wait till about 950 before I even really consider engaging, unless I feel like it's going to be one of those trend days that, expansion days that I could get in on the trend early and hold. That's the other thing, is I don't like to be so far away from a good stop loss location that I'm putting on that much risk. So lately, my methods of getting in is if I feel like I'm trying to get into a move a little bit early, I'll start out with a micro and a very small stop loss, and just add to it as it shows me that I'm correct. Scaling into the position. That way, if I'm wrong, I'm immediately wrong usually, and it really minimizes the amount of risk. It's 1 or 2 micros and not a huge exposure. So scaling in and out is, I don't usually scale out. That's something I need to work on. Scaling in definitely has made an improvement in how much exposure I've had and how many trades I can get into and still be comfortable, you know, not approaching my daily loss limits that I have set. And that's, I mean, that's the key. You have to have a hard lockout your daily loss. So we all are human. We get tilted when that happens, man. You can do some damage quick. So I'm gonna admit this is kind of boring. Not a lot going on. Spike down, we spike up. I'd like to see us take some liquidity before I'm interested in doing anything. We got another level here. Could potentially take out. We've got some levels. Got a range. So far, movement has been about 100 points, not quite. See how wiki this is? I mean, you can. It's just not super clean. ES is still drawing lower. It's back to opening price. Midnight open. We'll just sit and be patient. Hope everybody's doing well. Whoever's tuning in. See if we get that push. This buy side is also right at London's highs. That was the high of the London session there. So if we take that out, we could potentially see a move down for the other, or we could top. Or we could do nothing. I like to have an idea where price could be going, but getting married to a bias is not a great way to trade. It will cause you a lot of pain. You have to be flexible because the market will just give you what it gives you. And you have to be able to be fluid with that. I mean, it's helpful to have these levels, GoldBach levels, you know, inefficiencies marked out. It's helpful to keep all of that in perspective for the higher time frame narratives. What the market could likely be drawing towards. So, you know, this was my initial draw this morning. It seems to be drawing towards it. With it being the day before NFP, there's just not a ton of confidence in wanting to jump in and actually put risk on that. Even though my theory is correct. Just got to know when to sit on your hands. If you took this trade, awesome. Good for you. Hopefully it hits its target. We will watch. Let's see if I can find a. Where's the target emoji? Here. We'll use the eyes. We're watching. We're watching. We see you, NASDAQ. You guys like my cup? Right before Christmas. My girlfriend got that for me, actually. Love my cup. It's my good luck cup. We're watching you. Excuse me. Woo. Sneeze. Got a little bit of congestion going on still. Just kind of grinding here. So in theory, power 3 models, you want to be a seller above midnight's opening price and a buyer below it. Midnight's considered kind of the opening price of something, right? So if you want to make money off of it, you'd like to get it at a discount. If you're expecting price to go higher, then you want to buy it below midnight's price. If you're expecting price to run lower, you want to sell it above midnight's opening. Going into the day, like I said, I'm still kind of bullish, but since we're almost completed this dealing range, it's just kind of messy. Kind of messy. Just gray boxes, that inefficiency I have marked out. We're just painting inside of that inefficiency. Just painting inside of it. Throw a fib on it. Kind of mark out the quadrants of it. Give you an idea. Came up right to the halfway point of it. Traded back down. A little bit higher. Traded back down. Next. You just see, if you were to take that long 35 points, make it a 2-to-1, you have to have your stop there. Taking it from this inversion gap here. Which, this is your first presented fair value gap, sort of. Switch to 1 minute, see if it looks a little cleaner. Yeah, see 930 we immediately drop. Notice how ACT talks about first presented fair value gap. There you have it. If I really remember correctly, he said after 930, not at 930. That'd be this gap here. And there went all my levels. Let's see if I can bring them back. There we go. Just meant to delete the one. I mean, this is a 15-minute chart. You big wick down, take out the low of this, big wick up, still didn't take out the minor buy side. Just ugly price action. ES is making new lows. It is about at its previous day's high. So if you throw that in the context of like SMT, the ES took out the London's highs. NASDAQ did not. Again, we traded higher from the 930 till around 950. when the market changes direction. So with that narrative in mind, we traded above midnight's open. We could see some downward movement that would fit the Judas swing model. Time is very important in the markets. They run algorithmically, and a lot of that is based on certain times of day they do certain things, or can. Now, they're not always identical every day. They have some variations to them. Some explanations to that in Hoppy's book. If they were the exact same every day, it would be very easy for anybody to predict. But they shift times back and forth to create the illusion of randomness. That has been my experience. So you'll notice that the high of the day sometimes is formed at 9:50, sometimes it's 9:15. I'm sorry, 10:15. So just sitting on my hands for now. Just sitting on my hands. I mean, this price action is not fantastic, and that's okay. I mean, the market's not always going to be beautiful, perfect price delivery. We want it to, right? Because we want to make millions of dollars every day. But truth is you have to be patient. Absolutely have to be patient. See how we failed to take these highs? Something else I've noticed that prior to NFP, they will create liquidity pools on either side. They'll create all these failure swings, and then NFP will just run both sides. Just absolutely swiping all the liquidity that's created. But a lot of traders, a lot of the experienced ones you'll see, they do their trading, finish by Tuesday maybe. For this week, and they'll take the rest of the week off and touch grass because they've done it for years and been burned for years. And you just, with the stove's hot, you just, at some point you get tired of touching it. I'm a very stubborn individual, and I've had to touch the stove many, many, many times, and I still touch the stove when I shouldn't touch the stove. But definitely getting better, and have recognized certain days that are less probable than others, and when things really set me off, and trying to chase price back and forth is a quick way to have a no account. That's for sure. What do you guys think? Got a prediction on if we get any movement today? Will we continue chopping, or will we get something moving? Moment, we're just kind of grinding right back to our same price. Let me take a look at the dollar index. The dollar is pretty stagnant. Its 5-minute chart looks like it's moving lower at the moment. Usually, you don't know that correlation, and this isn't always gospel either, but I like to use the dollar index as a confluence. They usually are inverse markets. As the dollar increases in value, the overall futures market decreases in value, so it tends to go down when the dollar goes up. Now, when they start moving in tandem together, that's when you really know there's some manipulation happening. Meaning, definitely don't want to be putting any major risk on something like that. And don't get me wrong, there's people out there that have traded this morning, and they had a decent little move up. They caught that, and they're happy. But, you know, repeating that over and over is where it gets hard. I've gotten lucky on moves, too. That just sets a bad mental precedent where you think, oh, I can just click the button and make money without any real reason to do so. We've not taken any real liquidity other than this minor sell side pool right here, which that could be a confluence for a small trade, right? Trade that, take out the sell side, trade it to midnight open. It's a decent trade, and I wouldn't be mad at somebody for taking that. That's a rule-based setup. Wait for it to take out a prior swing low, change in direction. You know, you could argue that it never reached 50% of that candle that took that out, and then we moved up to the midnight price. Decent trade. Not one I want to take. Not today. Another day, maybe. I want to see a larger pool taken with some more substance before I want to engage it. Let's see what we get here. Now I've got these other charts up that you can't see. These I've got a second computer with a big giant screen above my head, so I'm looking at ES and NASDAQ side by side, just comparing the two. And looking for SMT. Looking for any kind of major movement. So far, I'm really not interested. This is sluggish. It's unpredictable. We ran higher, we came back down. We ran a little bit higher, we came back a little bit lower. We ran a little bit higher. Now we're consolidating again. I mean, the only displacement that I even see where we displaced above these highs and then have respected this inefficiency here, this fair value gap. Bodies are staying above 50%, you know, probably make a run for buy side. Let's see what that looks like as a trade idea. Maybe I'll take it. And it's 1.5. Now, if you'd gotten in here, that would have been a good trade. That would have been a good trade. So, as you can see, there's opportunities. There's always opportunities, depending on what your tolerance is. I'm looking for a larger type move. What I'd like to see us do is run up here, run to the high, show signs of a reversal, and then I'm interested in the trade back to equilibrium, which would also be a run at these relative equal lows, although don't really classify that because this one took this short-term low. So now you just have a singular low here, and then you have these lows here. but we're still in the initial balance range on both markets. ES is pushing up now. Nasdaq's about to break the initial balance high. Take out that buy side. I think it's better on stream to trade, as I'm really new. I think this is my third one so far. Because it really makes you analyze things out loud, as opposed to in your mind with the little voice in your head that tell you all kinds of things if you're not careful. But yeah, I mean, I record these. So this is going to be just kind of a documentary of my journey as a trader. I mean, this is what I decided some years ago that I really had a passion for and really wanted to do. And so this is where I'm at. This is what I want to do. Decided to learn how to stream so that I could get it all recorded and documented so that I can look back on this, 2-3 years from now and say, man, that's where I was at then. Look at where I'm at now. Trading has levels. It has levels. I've experienced some success more recently where I kind of jumped up to a whole new level. Got a taste of what that's like. So I understand when people talk about these different levels to this game. You just got to stick with it. Don't give up on it. Keep learning, keep improving, make minor changes, and you're kind of, I envision it as like a piece of stone. It's just a big piece of stone that you just have no idea what it's going to look like, and just got to start polishing it. Let's go for that buy side. Let's go. Called it live. We see you. I see you. Looks like the eyes from those googly eyes. You know what I'm talking about? I saw a video. Hey, Fabio. Thank you. Great to be with you too. Yeah, no problem. You ever seen those? I saw a short. Oh, there we go. Put aside. Bingo. Initial draw is hit. We can remove that. Anyhow, the short was it's like a really small dogs. The not a pug, but the French bulldog, and it only had one eye. And so the owner found some googly eyes and slapped some googly eyes on it. Thought that was great. The dog was walking around like little eye dangling. It was hilarious. I don't know. My whole feed is clogged with dog and funny cat videos. Let's be honest. All of ours is, isn't it? Alright, so we have now taken out the minor buy side that I had marked out as my initial draw on liquidity. Kind of interested to see how the markets react at this level. The next level up would be the GoldBach dealing range high. See how we react there. And that's a pretty good trade if you got in on that after we took out that small liquidity pool. Ran higher. That's good. It's not as bad and choppy as, I had expected it to be. So it's decent movement there. If you caught that, awesome. That's awesome. My suggestion, if you caught that, is walk away, turn your computer off, lock it, keep watching the stream though. Yeah, I've had days, just talking about some psychology stuff. I've had days where I was up a decent bit. I mean, way better than a day's salary. And walked away from the computer for a while and just happened to turn it back on later in the afternoon. The market, you'll just see something that you want to be part of. Greed is terrible sometimes for me. And, jump back in, end up losing everything you gained for the day, plus hitting your max loss for the day. It's happened so many times. Once you have a good trade, you really just need to let it go and walk away. Keep your winnings no matter what they are, and reset your mind. Come back another day and fresh eyes and do it again. I mean, you do that on a consistent basis, then you're there. I mean, that's the key to profitability right there, is keeping what you make. And I mean, obviously you got to have some understanding how the markets move and why, and a trading strategy, and whether you're using moving averages, trend lines, oscillators, whatever it is you're using, that's fine. If it works, your risk management is sound, you can make any of those strategies work. I've got some friends that use the break and retest, and they find consistency in a break and retest strategy. Break a high, we come back to retest it, and then we go higher. They could explain it better than I could, but that works. Why does it work? Because of risk management. Is it going to work 100% of the time? No. Am I going to be right 100% of the time? Not even close. I aim for 30, 40% of the time. 50 on good days. I mean, that's the truth, because as long as you're hitting trades that are, a lot of mine are 2, 3, 4 to 1, you don't need to be right a lot. You really don't. And there's scalping models that people do that they hit 90% win rates and 80% win rates. I've seen that. I don't know how true it is, but that works for them. That works for them. So let's see what happens. We're at 10:17 a.m. Eastern time. So far, the market has moved up. We have taken out the minor buy side. We have still set new highs for the initial balance. In the grand scheme of GoldBach trading, we are in the fair value gap partition of the dealing range. Again, I don't mean to confuse you with some weird language. You're going to have to seek out Hoppy and get the information from the source. I don't like to try to teach other people's stuff when I don't fully know them myself. I use them, I utilize them, and they seem to work for me, so I'm happy to show you why and how I use them, but I don't want to take credit or teach somebody's methods incorrectly, which include ICT. So, not trying to be shady with any of that. I just, I don't feel good not being the original author, trying to take any credit on that. But I do utilize them, and their methods have helped me dramatically in my trading and how I see the market. Fabio, if you're still in the stream, where are you from, man? I think I'm watching the chat on oh yeah, Italy. Welcome. That's awesome. One of my destinations. I'd like to come visit Rome. You trading today or just watching? Fabio is a very Italian name. If it wasn't for Pat Mahomes in the NFL, my name is not so popular. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's what I'm talking about, Fabio. That's what I'm talking about. Italians out here making money. I like it. Yeah, I'm sitting on my hands just because it's the day before NFP and the uncertainty in years past. I don't like to push buttons too quickly. Sounds like you had a great trade though. All right, so we reached the order block partition of the 243, which in my experience is a time that we could turn around, and we are seeing some lower movement. See if we create any kind of inefficiency to trade back to. Yeah. I agree with you, Fabio. I agree with you. It's been my experience too. And I might jump into this one. Try to drop down to a 30-second chart. Got fair value gap formed here. I might take this one. We did tag the fair value gap. I'm on a 30-second chart here, so it's a little bit faster. I want to see how we trade into this fair value gap. All right, I like that. I'm short 2 micros. See if we get this minor sell side. I think equilibrium's probably the safer trade here. I'm taking very, very, very small risk. Not financial advice. Not push buttons with me. We have another small gap above. If we happen to trade through that, I would probably be interested in cutting my trade early. I don't just mean wicking it. We almost completed the inefficiency there again. Again, very low risk, mostly for entertainment purposes. Let's see how we react here. This is kind of that order block partition. See how we traded into that 30-second fair value gap. The bodies so far have respected it. Took out the swing low, created a couple of gaps. There's 2 of them together, which Hoppy calls the hippos. Usually a good indication. I feel like there's some pretty decent confluence for the short here. ES seems to be shorting as well. I mean, reversing as well. We're within that 10 to 11 time window for the Judas swing. There's lots of reasons to like this trade idea. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit to the slightly higher time frames. I think I'm confident enough to move my target down with this amount of displacement movement. Once we get around equilibrium, I'll be looking to reduce risk, which I'll go ahead and do now. Always look to reduce risk. Instead of looking to make a ton of money, try to not lose a ton of money. Yeah, Fabio, I see what you're watching. ES just took out the low of its initial balance range, making new lows as we speak. I feel pretty good. This minor buy or sell side for me is where I'm going to keep a close eye. A lot of times when it comes to these dealing ranges, equilibrium is where we'll chop. So we could run down to this and then just chop. Could also not do any of it. It's just my theory. I'll keep a close eye on things. I'm a very conservative trader, so I will cut a trade quick if I don't like the way it looks, the way it moves. You'll often see me switch to 15-second and 30-second charts. I can get finer detail of price movement in those charts. For some people, if you're newer, I would not recommend lower time frame charts, as they will cause reactions to your emotions. When you get more experience, though, you get less emotional about smaller price movements. We traded above the midnight open, which is good confluence for wanting too short, as I stated earlier in my stream. Try to put it somewhere where it's visible for you guys to see all the levels and all that. Did you take the short, Fabio? My man out of Italy. That's what's cool about the world. Get on a stream. I'm in, Virginia, and hanging out with people all over the world. That's awesome. Traders all over the world. See, we're all just humans. We're all alike. All this division we have amongst ourselves, we're really all just one and the same. All out here trying to survive life together. Unity over division, 100%. Let's see what happens. They even kind of created some trend line liquidity too. Market likes to do that. And trend traders, they'll follow these trend lines, and then it'll just wipe them out at some point. So, I mean, those theories work, and we could just reverse off of that and create more trend line liquidity. Well, you got to have sound risk management. Be prepared for anything that the market gives you. Very small risk on this trade. Nothing big, nothing to sweat or worry about. My target's down here. What looks better on a stream? What time frame? 5 minutes, a little less frightful. ES really wants to make new lows, but they're not really aligned. The NASDAQ has kind of been in an uptrend, and ES has kind of been in a downtrend. So definitely uncorrelated markets. They're not aligned well. And sometimes, you can have that whole, I don't know if you know the ICT six sister approach, but one market will drag the other down. Sometimes they just chop in different directions for a little while until, the big news releases when they press a button, all of a sudden the market shoots off at 400 points in a different direction. Let's see if we get any movement here. I'd really like to see us drop down to equilibrium of the dealing range here. That's where I would feel comfortable taking risk completely off. Right now we're risking 113 bucks. Yes, looks like it really wants to push. I'm going to take a look at the DXY, the dollar index, which is actually pushing up. So they are inversing each other. It took out a minor low, swing low, and then it is pushing up the DXY, if you guys follow that. We created kind of this Judas swing upwards this morning. Not really getting the follow through that I'd want, but this is what you expect the day before NFP. ES is bouncing off previous day high. We're at previous day high on the NASDAQ here. This is previous day highs. I'm still bullish overall. This is more of a intraday minor movement. And my reason for wanting to be bullish for the day is that yesterday we did close above the previous day's highs. Yeah, Fabio, you're right. GoldBach is legit. I mean, if you guys don't know what GoldBach is, I highly recommend you look into that. I've heard people like complain on social media that it's a conspiracy algorithmically. That can't be algorithm that's delivering, that it's buying. Hey DS, no, I have so I have Trading View up on a separate computer above me. You can't see the Trading View. It's on a big 48-inch OLED screen that I have. I do have a GoldBach indicator on that particular one. This is within Top Step X that I'm live trading in, so I can't put the indicator in there because they don't allow outside indicators. So yeah. It's nice having that. It can be the way to do it, to keep an eye on multiple markets at the same time. I've had this OLED in a desktop computer for a while, and then I'm running the stream and the trading off of a laptop in front of it. So I kind of have all my information in front of me, and so I pre-mark out these levels so that I can at least show you guys what I'm seeing. Yeah, ES is it's an interesting creature. I feel like the ES has been following along the pathway a little bit nicer than NASDAQ has. Have you found that recently? So that's why I keep an eye on both. I am short 2 micros. No big fireworks today. just small size. Day before NFP, even though I know the market's still going to run on algorithm, they run sloppy, real sloppy. Putting big risk on is just a bad idea when the markets are sloppy. You'll get wicked out of your position, even though you're right on the movement, so quickly. And it's not really moving real fast, but on these choppy-er days, when it's grindy, I find that on occasion you'll see a slap. Call it a slap, where it'll just spike up and take everybody out. We're back to midnight open. I'd like to see that kind of operate as a bit of resistance. I needed to set something up on here. Sitting there at previous day's highs still at midnight. Just grindy. I'd like to see us take out all of this trend line liquidity we've generated. That's what I'd like. Of course, right? I'm short. Why wouldn't I run it? DS, what part of the world are you in? Oh, okay. Excellent. Hopefully the weather's okay for you guys right now. I'm on the East Coast. We have all this inefficiency here. Doesn't bother me that it's wanting to paint that inefficiency. Keep my original fair value gap, make sure it inverts it. If it doesn't, then I'll start considering whether or not to get out. Yeah, I hear you, man. We had a beautiful 80-degree day here. 70 degrees, sorry. Just a couple days ago. Today is cold and rainy and just nasty. They were calling for possibly some ice today, so you know, welcome to Virginia. If you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes. It'll change. All right, we are back to my entry. I entered a little bit sloppier there, but that's okay. It really has been this kind of back and forth choppy price action. Don't love it. All right, we have now knocked out 2 inefficiencies. We knock out this third and I'm out. Wait for the candle to close. Well, yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I mean, the 243 and the 729 both kind of line up with the same high. I'm aware of that. It's just that we're respecting that order block partition 729. Woo! Oh man. How's that for a slap? Wowzers. Wowzers. He could go all the way. How's that for a slap? I don't know. He might be. He probably tweeted something. I hope he keeps tweeting it though, so we can get down to my target down here. Look at that slap. Woo. We just suplexed that 1 minute candle. We did. We suplexed it. It did run a lot of stops. Absolutely did. This is that chop. This is that pre-NFP chop. This is why you keep very, very low risk. I think I just said that a few minutes before it happened. How the price can just slap all of a sudden. This is definitely that kind of day. Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see. Was that a slap just to draw everybody off sides? Was that a slap just to start algorithmic chop? We're going to get some larger, faster moves now. I mean, you got to look at the day, you know, we just up, down, back down, back up, slap down, taking out all this sell side right here. It's just kind of a nasty, choppy mess. No real smooth price delivery, lots of wicks. And depending on where you're in, you know, you get slapped around. You get slapped around real quick. You could definitely get slapped around real quick. I still feel confident enough that we painted above the midnight's opening price several times. I mean, that candle opened on the midnight opening price. Anybody that says an algorithm doesn't work this market, well, you tell me why a candle opens exactly on the midnight open price, then what does that? Buyers or sellers just decided midnight open is the price to sell from. Maybe. I don't believe so. And that's okay if you do. I don't mean to contradict anything that you believe or anything like that. Just, you know, this is how I read it. This is how I see it. Whoops. I'm moving my lines. I got to lock them. Anchor that. Let's get that locked up so I don't do that again. Let's lock my lines here. Locking my lines. Let's get that slap. Let's go. Let's take out all that Liquidity down below. That's what I want to see. Yeah, you're right, Fabio. You are right, my man. Glad to see some GoldBach traders in here. I don't know where you guys came from. I don't know how you found me, but I'm glad that glad you're here. Hoppy is the man. You know, I learned about Hoppy a couple of years ago from someone on Twitter. You know, I bought the book that he has out, the PDF book, and it was just foreign language to me. I had no clue what it was talking about. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm brand new to the stream, so I mean, this is day 3. You know, I'm just decided to take the plunge and do it. I'm at a point where I have something to offer, especially people that have not traded before. All right, well, welcome. Sharing the journey with me, man. Stick around, you know. You'll see I'm human. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I don't take losses or that I know everything that the market's going to do, but I do have some knowledge to offer. You know, the masters that have figured everything out before me, ICT, Hoppy, you know, I don't know much about DR, the master, but had some traction for a while. I try not to speculate on these influencers or people, but if their concepts work, if they make you money, and you can see them in your charts, well, there's probably something there that you want to pay attention to. Because before I learned about half of these people, I had no clue how the market could potentially work. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what levels to be keeping an eye on. Like, I had no clue. So, welcome to your journey, though. Are you new in your journey, DS? Like, brand new to the journey? Been trading for a while, or? Just so you guys know, I'm planning to do this most days. I think 9:15 a.m. Eastern time to about noonish. Sometimes that might change. I might throw a stream on in the afternoon if I'm liking the price action. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now that GoldBach is the real deal. 100%. I have watched it happen so many times and respect the GoldBach levels that it is the real deal. I mean, power 3, a dealing range, of course that makes sense. You know, the logical part of my brain in every way understands that these markets have to price within a certain range, and there's reasons behind that that go deeper. Yeah, hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. All right, so we are in equilibrium, and per what I said, we are now risk-free in this trade. Comfortable taking no risk. You got to give yourself some breathing room in these trades on days like today if you're gonna take one. If I wasn't streaming, I might have just taken today off, but you know, I'm trying to get this streaming, get some traction. I like being part of a community, and this is great talking to traders from, you know, Italy, Pacific Northwest, bouncing ideas. It's great. And so got to be really careful though. So I am risk off on this trade. At equilibrium, from what I've learned, we tend to chop at equilibrium of the dealing range. There have been days that I've seen it go right through equilibrium very nicely. Other days where that is the kind of the sticking point for the day. You can frame trades outside of equilibrium once you get a few partitions away back to equilibrium, which was my initial draw on this trade. The only reason that I'm sticking it out for the longer haul is because I just feel like everything lined up above midnight, the Judas swing to go down and take sell side. And since we had taken buy side from the ES, taking the London highs, we took the London highs of the NASDAQ. Just gives me enough confidence that we go just a little bit lower and possibly take out yesterday's PM session lows. This is that chop section. So this is where you have to be careful and not get greedy. If you don't see what you don't like, cut bait and run. We'll see. We're in this risk-free. So 830's price. Let me mark out 830 on the chart too, because I keep an eye on 830. 21,767.50. This is 8:30 a.m.'s price. Make that green. Let's make that green. Did I make it green? I made it green. I want to see how we react at 8:30's price. That ES just looks terrible, doesn't it? It just looks like a chop fest. Still at previous day's highs on the ES. If we get any real push, I will kill this trade and just take what I've made. I'll give it a minute to breathe. I don't like sitting on them this long, but at the same time, like, my best trades are seem to be my longer trades. And a lot of people cut out, I feel like sometimes a little too early. I'll give it room to breathe. In my experience. We now have another fair value gap inefficiency here on a 1 minute. I don't think I'd like to see us trade above that if I'm still on side for this particular move. We had a nice displacement lower and then completely ran out of steam. So we're in that fair value gap partition on the 243. I think I still have the 243 running. For those of you that use GoldBach. Oh, that's the 729. Sorry. To the 243. I generally use the 243 on my daily intraday trades. I'll watch the 729 for the higher time frame stuff, but intraday, 243 points roughly, kind of been the daily range for the NASDAQ. Obviously, there's outliers there. None of this is hard and fast, but I'm running out of coffee. Is the music too loud, guys? Or is it at a good level? I know it's not much, but if you guys are in the stream, like the stream. This is a brand new stream, trying to get some traction. Definitely need to like it, if you don't mind. If you do, that's okay. I'm not gonna sit here and beg people for likes, but I think that helps. I don't know how YouTube works. Try to get some traction. The bigger the group we can build together, the bigger the community, the better. Better for all of us. It'll allow me to keep doing it. Let's see what we do here. Now traded back up above 830. This is that choppity hue. Heading into about 11 o'clock. I think, to be confident, I'd like to see us hit this by 11:30. Hey Fabio, thanks for coming, man. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow for the NFP fireworks. Appreciate you coming by and interacting, man. It really means a lot. Hopefully this thing grows together and we can create a pretty awesome community of traders and everybody gets better at it, you know? That's the goal. What do we do? I'd really like to see this hit by 11:30. Currently up 220 bucks. Nothing fantastic. Not terrible. In the grand scheme of things, on a pre-NFP chop day, being able to trade and be risk-free, I think, is not a bad way to be. We are kind of hanging around that 830 price, which happens to be basically the opening price. So we marched up a little bit above midnight. Try to get this where you guys can see it. I mean, this is 9:30. This is where we're at. We marched up, came back down. I'd like to see us go down before it comes back up again. That would kind of complete the chop that I expect for the day. But we'll see. There are no guarantees. Trading is a risk. It's about managing your risk. I think we can leave it on the 1 minute. Get that out of the way. Will it let me zoom out a little? There we go. Will we hit it? You know what we don't have on the chart? We didn't put googly eyes. No wonder it's not going down there. We gotta put the googly eyes. I mean, duh, right? What is it? How does it know where to go if we don't show it what to look at? Googly eyes it is. Gotta show it where to go. All right, NASDAQ. I gave you a destination. We put googly eyes on. Your turn. It's your move, NASDAQ. Still hanging out at 830's price. Not really wanting to do much of anything. It looks heavier though, doesn't it? You're watching the market. ES is kind of doing a small, minor rollover. You know, we're not getting much movement at all. Didn't expect much today. Didn't expect much today. Googly eyes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We are 11 a.m. Eastern time. Top of the hour. See if we get any kind of movement in a direction for that power 3 on the hourly. In a perfect world, if we are moving down, we usually will move up first. So you got to think about how a candle is formed. It's got to form the wick of this hour. Let's just look at the hourly candle. Didn't take any lows, but we did take highs. For a 30-minute, we should trade up, create a wick, trade lower. We've created some liquidity here. We've got liquidity here, we've got liquidity here, and we've got liquidity lower. And then this is an inefficiency on its own that could be repriced to if it wants to. We'll monitor that. I will increase my target sizes if the market shows me a willingness to move in a direction. What you should never do is widen your stop loss unless you just feel like you're really sure on a move and you're just going to move it a little bit because you didn't like where you put it. That'd be the only time that I would feel comfortable moving it wider. Moving it in is always the best method. Reducing risk. So, top of the hour, we traded up a bit from equilibrium. Do we go all the way back to midnight? There's a small gap in price there too. Kind of a double inefficiency. That'd be okay if it's slap set. And we're back at 10 a.m.'s price on the NAS. And yeah, Bradley, you're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. NFP Thursday is not a good day to trade. I agree with you. That's why I am extremely low risk. Mostly doing it because I'm streaming. Not a good day to put any kind of real risk on. You know, if you're going to catch a small move because you want to, you know, if you're anything like me, I like doing this. So I like to take a trade. You could take one on practice if you really want to be at the charts. For stress reasons, I generally recommend people just take the day off. You know, go do something outside, go enjoy life somehow, and enjoy the fact that you have freedom from the charts on some days. They're going to be there. NFP fireworks are going to be tomorrow. There's going to be opportunities in the afternoon. There's next week. There's the week after that. So, yep. I'm going to kill my face cam for a minute because I've got to use the restroom, being honest. I'm going to leave the chart on so you guys can follow along my trade here. My googly eyes are set. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to kill the face cam and the mic for a minute, and I will be right back. All right, back in the saddle. What'd you guys do? Slapped my trade while I was gone. Yeah, slapped it. Slapped it. Yeah. Exactly, Bradley. Just have some fun. It's not a big deal. We're back to midnight open. To be expected. It often will do that. Midnight is kind of that, you know, it's the opening price, so it's going to trade lower, back to midnight. It's going to trade higher, back to midnight. Yeah, kind of frame things around that. This is that, you know, it's just chop. It's a seek and destroy type of price action. Big players are not participating. They're on the sidelines, so there's no real movement, you know. Our algorithm's gonna do what it does, and I think there's probably some movement due to buy and sell pressure to some degree, right? I don't think it. That's why things don't perfectly align mechanically to every single line every time. They can overshoot targets. They will price right back to it, but let's see what we do with this. That was that a 1 minute? Yeah, that's a 1 minute fair value gap. We invert it, trade back through it. We'll see. I had to get some coffee too. All right, it took me a minute. We are back to midnight's open. ES is back to midnight's open at the same time. Go figure. 11:14. Let's see. Take out this swing high here. That would make sense for the type of price action we're in, where it creates swings and then goes and swipes them out. Just taking liquidity, generating orders for really for tomorrow. I think they gather all those buy and sell orders and hold them, and they release it. You see how the market starts to like move back and forth really quickly? That's when you know it's really getting into that price discovery, chop you out of your trades phase. This is where a lot of traders lose big. They start seeing movement and it gets them all excited. It plays on your psychology, right? You're like, oh, there's movement. It's going somewhere. And then it slaps back and forth. Just completely takes you in and out. Yep. Back to midnight open. Like I said, I'd like to see a big drop right now. The ES kind of took out the lower trend line liquidity though, which tells me that it might be drawing the market higher to take out the higher trend line liquidity, because above the ES it's all failure swings. If you look at like this 5-minute chart, you see how it's failure swing, that's trend line liquidity. So it might want to go ahead and do that and take out the GoldBach level high. So we need to get some big drop here soon. I need to see a willingness to drop, or I'll probably cut this trade. Definitely need to see some movement in my favor. In my favor. Bradley, man, I've been trading for a number of years, been in and out of the markets for about 10. As far as GoldBach and ICT stuff is concerned, very new to GoldBach. Been using it for a short time compared to ICT, about 3 years or so. Or no, not even 3 years. Probably a total of like a year and a half, 2 years on ICT stuff. So, all right, let's see. We're not getting the movement that I want to see. Futures market, I've been dabbling in the futures market pretty hardcore for the last 2 years. So, you know, journey's been up and down, and like most. I've got some decent knowledge. Still struggle with psychology from time to time. Second guess myself a lot. DS, you're seeing algo 2 on ES going higher, huh? I like it. All right, we just spiked the swing high. Where do we go? We spiked that swing high right there. You see that? Just top ticked it. See how we have these relative equal lows though? There's definitely a reason to go lower. There's always a reason to go higher. That is the market. That is the market. So in the ES, 243, we're in the order block partition of this particular next dealing range. So I can see what you mean by it wanting to go higher from here. I don't think we get that big of a movement today, though. I mean, I'm looking at equilibrium. It's 200 points higher. Today would be a stretch for the ES to just start running 200 points higher. But hey, stranger things have happened. We're also in the upper partition on the 243. So something else you gotta keep in mind when we're in the lower partition of the next dealing range. There's that kind of in-between window from the high to the extension where it starts the new partition, the next dealing range, higher. But we kind of can stay in that partition for a while, and it can go in either direction. That's just something I've noticed. If you're using one of the GoldBach indicators, then you know, a lot of times they switch when it crosses the high. You got to have both of them turned on if you're monitoring both dealing ranges. Because once you're in that no man's land, that in between, it can do either one, and it will chop around in that area. Above midnight again. Just created a small, minor 5-minute failure swing. Of course, this candle hasn't closed yet, so it may take that and run higher. I have this chart on. I have it on a 15-minute up here. Let's take a look at that. We're getting close to 11:30. 11:22. Oh yeah, yeah, I know the. Hey, maybe Bradley. Yeah, we'll see. Shoot me a message to it. Check it out for you, man. I find Discord harder to be in while live trading, though. You know, if I got Discord open, then I can't really pay attention to my trade and the stream all at the same time. So that's where things get a little harder. But there are days that I'm gonna just not stream and, you know, just kind of do my own thing. So I haven't nailed down a schedule yet. Been trying to do it most days and see if I can get any traction with it. We are hanging out at the true day open midnight price on ES. Really gone nowhere for the day. Both did take out London's highs. Seem to want to push higher for this particular moment in time. Just based on the structure. There's no real follow through. Now we're forming kind of a broadening formation on the lower time frame here. See what I mean? Kind of throwing a broadening formation out. We are in this risk-free. We are in it risk-free. It looked like we were gonna go all the way for a minute, and then she turned around. We did bounce right off of EQ, which those of you that were in here originally, that was where I was originally going to target. That was the low-hanging fruit, was the equilibrium in the range. But since I'm risk-free, it's not a big deal to have a higher target. $11.26. This is about the time. I find 11:30 to be kind of a key time, as well as 12:30. I don't know if you've got noticed. Sometimes the market kind of holds until about 12:30, and if there's going to be a dump, 12:30 seems to just really kick that off. That's just something I've noticed. It doesn't always happen that way, but it's a key time to keep an eye on things. Kind of leaves people unexpected. A lot of people get out of the market by 11, or have sworn by the the morning session as being their bread and butter, so they're out 12:30 when the algo just dumps. Kind of turned around there. That's a good sign. Back above midnight open. Another failure swing. Failure swing, failure swing, failure swing. You got liquidity down here that has been building up all morning for the crazy goons that are trading today. Guess I'm one of those crazy goons, huh? Very low risk. This is risk-free, so. Now we're trading back down towards that fair value gap. We'll see if it inverts it or if it runs through it. All right, Brad, I'll add you on the Discord there, man. Let's see. Oh, okay. Hey, we got Australia in here too. We got Italy, Australia, US. Let's roll. Global community right here. Appreciate you watching and being part of the group, man. Appreciate it. I'm looking you up now. I'm gonna take a picture of this. There we go. Sounds good, Brad. You take care. Get some rest, man. Down under. I'm sure that gets old. I'd love to visit Australia, though. Love to visit Australia. The googly eyes. We got to get the googly eyes going here. Maybe I need more googly eyes? Is that the problem? Maybe I need more. We'll double the googly eyes. Here, let's put it up here. We're watching you. We are watching price. We are watching price live on YouTube. We're watching. We're watching. Go to your home. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see you, Brad. Bradley. I don't know how you like to go by, but I'm not trying to offend anyone. Let's go. We're watching you, NASDAQ. You ever feel like watching these markets is like watching the paint dry? They're slow like this. Not much happening at all. Uh-oh, my googly eyes are in the way. Not much at all. Just no follow through with anything. Just paint back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, it's 11:30. We still haven't gotten the drop that I wanted. Still kind of grinding that way, so I'll hold it as risk-free. Give it a little more time. But we don't get some kind of movement in my favor, then I may just cut it, call it. So did we invert this fair value gap? I could get the end of it. And through. Bodies respected it. I'm not convinced. I like that. I like that. You guys gonna watch the NFP fireworks? NFP can be nuts. I've seen it shoot 200-300 points in a single candle. I mean, just unreal. The people that trade that, I don't know. They have a willingness to live life on the edge. It can be treacherous. Absolutely treacherous. I feel like I've been in this trade for a long time now. Kind of moving my way though, so that's good. I initially moved my stop down to break even once we got back to equilibrium in the range. Made it risk-free, which is always what you should be trying to do in a trade. Anything that's real deal is just good practice. Reduce your risk. I'm kind of excited about February. I feel like after this week, we're going to start seeing some really good price action for the next few months. That's my opinion. Of course, it's tough. I mean, we've got the tweeting U.S. president of the century that in one tweet can cause a 200-point movement. And then now we've got Elon Musk as being part of that. His tweets tend to move things too. So, we've got kind of a double header, so I like to call it, which creates a lot of volatility. So I would be extremely careful these next 4 years. But if you can manage your risk properly, like I've done with going to no risk, you can profit off of the volatility. And that can be fun. It can also be heartbreaking to watch accounts get destroyed. I mean, I remember the last time this president was in office and things just got kind of nuts. Of course, back then I wasn't trading the futures market, so I didn't know much about the movement in futures. I hadn't really been introduced to it yet. I think at that time I was still trying to mess with options. And I don't know if you remember like the GameStop and all that. I was part of that original Discord or Reddit when all of that was going down. Like I was live and active in that Discord at that time. That Reddit, sorry. Those two look so much alike. You ever notice that the symbols are like almost identical? We'll hang out. There's no reason to get out just yet. Not seeing anything that I hate. We're moving in the direction I wanted to move into. We pulled back up into this candle, but we, just from a price perspective, we sort of respected about 50% of the range of that particular candle. Turn that off. It's getting a little too busy. We're in this inefficiency. I'm going to remove the inefficiency for now. It's starting to distract me a little bit. Hit the minor buy side. I can take these gaps off. Still watching you, NASDAQ. Googly eyes are working. So that's what it is. I mean, you don't need GoldBach. You don't need ICT. You just need googly eyes. That's the key. So, nobody wants to tell you, but here I am live stream telling you the secret to the market. And it's googly eyes. Just kidding, of course. Oh. Let's go. Let's go, market. We're working. We're working. You are working lower. The ES definitely looks like it wants to push down. I mean, it's kind of made a few swipes downward, created lower pressure, but then it just sort of stalled right around, let's see, what time did that happen? At 10:45-ish, it kind of stalled. Which, this is pre-NFP. I mean, this is all of this price action is completely expected. Just not expecting big moves. Was not expecting a expansion day by any means. Looking to capitalize on intraday chop for science. We are still trending lower at the moment. This particular price leg. See how we left these like really, I mean, we just mohawked that high, just like I called out. We created a swing, and then we just, I mean, look at that. We just mohawked it. Just top ticked it. I mean, that's what the algorithm's doing right now. It's just taking liquidity. Creates swing points, and then it goes and takes those swing points. And then it reverses and takes other swing points. You see all this down here? We got multiple levels. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know if those notifications show up on there. Let's see what we get. GoldBach in action. See if we can drop to this lower, back down to equilibrium, and then below, and paint on the other side of the equilibrium. Because I mean, we're really chopping around the equilibrium of this dealing range, and it'll paint on both sides. I call it painting. I think I picked that up from ICT. He was talking about, you know, painting up, down, filling in inefficiencies. So I certainly picked up some of his lingo. But, you know, if you're going to learn a style and you're going to stick with it, you got to just kind of immerse yourself in it so that you understand it. Other people are talking about it and you're learning. So anybody that doesn't study or hasn't studied any ICT stuff, it may sound like a foreign language, and I'm sorry for that, but that's just how I trade price. So for me, that's how I explain price. All right, now we've made it back down to 830's price in the NASI. Do we want to go lower, or are we going to use that as a support level? I could see us using it as a support and then running higher. I could see us breaking through it. See how we kind of react to it. I mean, these levels are keys. How you utilize those levels is, you know, how you can frame trade ideas and how you can find trade ideas even on a day like today. DS, you still in your trade? You might be gone. There is a slight delay in the stream too. I'm not 100% sure how to get rid of it. I've put everything, and I'm using OBS Studio, and I've put everything to the lowest possible latency. I'm direct plugged in, hardwired. I've got fast internet, so I don't know. Got some more research to do to find out why there might be little bit of a delay. I don't think it's too far behind, but it is a little bit behind, so just be warned. You know, I'm not a signal service by any means. Should not copy trade me. Should just use this as educational purposes, entertainment purposes, a place to hang out and talk about trading if you want. Because I promise you, if you follow me, you will lose money. I'm wrong a lot. Should never follow anyone. Even if I showed you exactly how I do it, you won't do it the same. Got to kind of blaze your own trail based on information. Okay, so we're approaching the equal EQ of the GoldBach range. 243 dealing range is what I have marked out here. We are approaching it. Kind of pulled back away from it. Like to see us trade through it. We're getting close to noon at this point. Things get real sketch around noon. I'll probably end the stream around noon. Now we've pulled back to 8:30. Are we loading up for a push down? I might take my position off here if we hit it. Let's monitor on a 15-second. I use the 15-second and the 30-second. Just give me that fine detail of what the market's doing on a very minute level. It's just how my brain works. I can see with more precision and detail on these lower time frames what's going on. If you're newer, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that at all due to trading. It can really throw you off if you're not used to it, just because of how fast it moves versus a 5-minute or a 15-minute. I mean, 5-minute, 15-minute is much slower, much more relaxed, doesn't play on your psychology nearly as harsh as a 15 or 30-second. We came down to the same area, generated some more liquidity. Now, all the retail traders think this is a kind of a safe zone to buy in, so they'll create that. Still watching. Googly eyes. We're watching you. They want you to go home. They want you to go home. Go to your home. $11.50. We're still basically where we started for the day. No real movement in any direction to be expected. NFP Thursday. Tomorrow's when the real fireworks happen. Just a fair warning, I would not trade before NFP. I would definitely wait till the dust settles after. It's going to be a real slow molasses chop fest, just kind of like it is right now. ES is kind of right in the middle of its original initial balance range. Let's look at the dollar. Dollar's kind of pushing up. Created some bullish fair value gaps on the dollar, which leads me to more confluence that we're still going to head somewhat lower, take out some of this lower liquidity. If we were following the algo, see if it's painting a trail. Let's see. Did kind of tap into 50% ish of the order block range. As the path goes, could head higher to the rejection block. I'll remove the googly eyes, they're kind of in my way. Came back to 830, tapped it again. ES is back to the midnight open again for the 15th time this morning. 11:51, approaching the 12 o'clock noon hour. I've been streaming since about 9:20. We've been here. We're not getting the drop that I wanted. Let's see how we handle this 30-second inefficiency. Not much, huh? Really not that exciting. Nothing happening today. 11:53. Will we be at equilibrium at noon? What does a 30-minute look like? Look at this. Wow. Chop, 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 chop. A lot of chop. A lot of wicks. You got higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower. See that? This creates a uneven pattern. You've got trend line liquidity above. You got all of this down here. Trend line liquidity, trend line liquidity. Where do we go? At that 30-second inefficiency currently. All right, guys. Got about 5 minutes and then I'm going to call the stream. I need to get something to eat. Touch grass. This has been a bore fest. I'll probably leave this on and see what happens. Give it a couple more minutes here. Today's more of a day just to hang out rather than trade. Really nothing to trade. At first morning session, I mean, you can find something, but usually not much on NFP Thursday to mess with. Yeah, if you're just trying to read price action, or in my case stream, then that's a different story. But most of the time, better to just sit today out, wait till after the fireworks. Use today to do research, you know. Today's a good day for learning, or just give your mind a break. We are just hanging out. I think my mouse is starting to stick. Mouse soon. Probably need a new one. $11.56. Where are we going to be at noon? That's the question. Will it hit by noon? 3 minutes. Come on, market. I've drawn you googly eyes. What more do you want from me? They're here. They're waiting for you. Maybe I have to put them under it. Is that the key? So it actually wants to go to them. Is that the key? Is that what I was missing? I think it might be. Just needed to align them. Won't find that anywhere else on YouTube. Three-hour trade, no movement. I can feel myself getting older though. That's good. Two minutes. T minus 2 minutes until noon. Anybody that came out today, appreciate it. Hope you come back. So we can get this thing, get some traction, get it off the ground, hanging out, trading, streaming. Follow me on Twitter, Pet to the Future. I think I got a link in my YouTube bio. I'm still learning all this stuff, so a lot I don't have. 11:59. We are almost at the end of this. But I do appreciate you guys for coming out. Hope to see you back. Probably be on tomorrow for the fireworks show of NFP. You guys take care. I am going to end the stream and go get something to eat. Trade safe. Be careful.